Starting August 25th, the 2023 FIBA Basketball World Cup begins. And when it comes to international basketball, there's no better team than the U.S. We practically invented the game. The best league in the world is in the U.S., and most of those players come from the U.S. But over the years, the game has become more international. You got teams like Spain, France, Argentina, a lot of European teams. You got Australia as well. But the game has just gotten bigger, and sooner or later, there's going to become a point where the U.S. isn't on top anymore. But by golly, that trend is not going to start this year. The U.S. is going to win the 2023 FIBA World Cup. You can come back to this video. We're winning the World Cup. And I'm going to tell you why. When it comes to FIBA, the U.S. doesn't really send the best of the best. Or it's more like the best of the best in the U.S. don't really want to play. That's more for the Olympics. Like you got your Steph Currys, your LeBrons, your Kevin Durant's, your Devin Bookers. Players like those, they're taking their time in the off season. They're training a little more. When it comes to the Olympics, they might play. But when it comes to FIBA, it's more of our B team type stars. But even the USA's B team type stars are the best team on the planet. I mean, we have Paolo Banchero, the number one pick of last year, rookie of the year. We have Mikal Bridges. We have Jalen Brunson. We have Anthony Edwards. We have Tyrese Halliburton. We have Josh Hart. We have Brandon Ingram. Jaren Jackson Jr., the defensive player of the year last year. We have Cam Johnson, Walker Kessler, Bobby Portis, and Austin Reeves. So you might be saying, oh yeah, none of those guys are top 10 players, which I would agree. None of those guys are top 10 players. They're all younger than the current stars of the NBA. So they're going to develop, and who knows, maybe in a couple years we'll look back on this team and be like, oh my gosh, this team was absolutely stacked. So they're a little younger. They have a little less experience, yet this team is by far the best team. And looking at their games that they've had some scrimmages against the JV USA team, who they looked very well. I mean, they did lose one or two games, but they were figuring things out. In those two games, it looked more like they were just trying to figure out plays and trying to win. We played Puerto Rico a couple days ago. We 40-balled them. So it was light work. So yeah, I have no doubt in my mind that the U.S. has definitely the most talented team. But when it comes to other teams, especially across the world, it's about chemistry. Because when it comes to USA, our main problem is that we have guys coming in and out every single year. For the USA rosters, the Olympics, it changes every single time. When it comes to these overseas countries and just every other country in general, these guys have been playing for their whole lives. They know each other most likely. They're friends. They probably played when they were 9 years old, and chemistry is huge when it comes to basketball. It's not a one-person sport. Everyone is touching the ball on the court. So that's where our talent lacks, is definitely chemistry. So you might be wondering it just sounds like you're dogging on the USA. I'm not. We have the most talent. I think we have the best coaches, the best coaching. We know the game the best. We have the highest level team, and we're just going to win. And the U.S., we're in Group C of the World Cup. There's different groups, and there's 4 teams per group. Depending on how well you do in your group, that's how it's determined into the knockout stages right after. So you play the team in your group at least once. And we're in Group C. And we have Jordan, New Zealand, and Greece. All 3 of those teams, no offense, are light work. Team Jordan, I don't know anybody. Team New Zealand, I don't know anybody. Team Greece could have potentially been dangerous. But Giannis Antetokounmpo pulled out yesterday. So we don't even have to face Giannis, one of the best players in the NBA. So going into the group stage, it's going to be light work. We're 40-balling all these kids. I mean, yeah, it's going to look like we're playing with little boys and we're grown men. So the group stage is going to be no problem whatsoever. If we have a little bit of a problem in the group stage, I'm going to be a little concerned, but there should be no problem. The knockout stages is where it gets a little spicy and a little different. Also, I have to mention the rules. The other teams have a little bit of an advantage because they play with the FIBA rules. The U.S. does not play with FIBA rules. One example of this is goaltending. Once the ball touches the rim, you can swipe that thing off anytime you please. In the NBA, that is not the case. You have to let that ball go over the cylinder, and if it's over the cylinder at all, it's a goaltend if you touch it. In FIBA, that's not a rule. And there's other little, like, knicky-knacky type things in there, just like fouls and whatnot. But when it comes to the knockout stage, there are 3 teams that are potentially dangerous for the USA to face. And the first team that I think could give us trouble is the team from down under, Australia. They have a lot of NBA talent. They have Dyson Daniels, they have Dante Exum, they have Josh Giddey, they have Josh Green, they have Joe Ingles, they have Jock Landale, they have Patty Mills, Matisse Thybulle, and Jack White. That is a solid team. I think their main problem will probably be defense and potentially shooting. I mean, Josh Giddey, Dyson Daniels, Dante Exum are not the greatest guards for a shooting team. You have Patty Mills, who, when it comes to international play, just becomes a god, and he'll drop 30 on you. But if we can contain Patty Mills, I think it could go pretty well. I mean, you're going to have to worry about Josh Giddey just absolutely slicing up the defense and just finding every open player. But Josh Giddey and Patty Mills, once you get rid of those 2 core players, it's going to be easy cookings. And we just got to put our best defenders on them. We just put like Mikal Bridges, like Cam Johnson on those 2 guys. We're looking good. Second team that the U.S. should be worried about is Canada. They've been getting a lot of hype over the past couple weeks, days. They just have a lot of NBA talent. Let me just go over some of the talent that they have. NBA talent. They got Nickeil Alexander-Walker, who can get you buckets, big scorer. He's solid on the perimeter defense. They have R.J. Barrett, a guy who's a fringe all-star, could make all-star any given year. Will probably make it this year. They got Dylan Brooks. Although a lot of people hate him, he's a good defender. He can catch fire some moments, but he can also be a crutch when it comes to shooting because he'll take a lot of shots, and he could miss a lot of them. Lou Dort, one of the best defenders in the NBA. Zach Edey, 7'3" center from Purdue. You got Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, one of the best players in the NBA. Jamal Murray, another one of the best players in the NBA. Kelly Olynyk, and Dwight Powell. And then they got some other guys scattered in there. But those are the main guys. Just based off of talent, this is going to be a tough team. But I think they lack one of the main things that, along with the U.S., but I don't think the U.S. as much because of our coaching staff, just how much we practice and all that, is chemistry. This team they haven't played a lot together. I mean, I haven't seen them play a lot. They haven't gotten a lot of success in their past years, but they're emerging to be a great international team. So I would be worried about them. I mean, they're going to be able to stretch the floor. They're a pretty small team besides Zach Edey, who I would be surprised if he didn't get a lot of minutes. But he also has no NBA experience, so he's probably going to get bullied by other guys on the USA team. Other than that, I mean, Canada's going to they're going to be special. They did just lose to Germany a couple days ago in a scrimmage, just a game that didn't mean anything. They did lose to Germany, but I think they were just getting their bearings. Every game that they play with each other, they're just going to get better. So that's a team to look out for. Last team that I think the U.S. could be worried about, and I shouldn't even say team, it's a player, and that's Luka Doncic and Slovenia. besides Luka Doncic, none of the guys on their team really have NBA experience. I mean, you got Zoran Dragic, who's the brother of Goran Dragic. He was in the league for maybe a couple of years, didn't have a great career in the NBA. But Luka almost got them to the finals in the Olympics like 2 years ago. He almost beat France by himself. He led them single-handedly to like the fourth place. I think they got fourth place. They might have gotten bronze. If they got bronze, my bad, but I think they got fourth place. I think they lost in the third place game. But he can single-handedly win any game. I mean, he'll get a 40-point triple-double. Easy on this team. I mean, from games that I've seen, because I did watch them quite a bit in the Olympics, a lot of their guys can shoot. A lot of their guys can get streaky. They're not the most athletic team. My mistake. But they can shoot. They're a very solid team when it comes to chemistry. They've played together for ages. They know everybody's tendencies. They know how to cut to the basket. And I think this is a team that could put a lot of pressure on the U.S. if they're not careful. So some honorable mentions, I guess. I mean, you got Spain. They're always solid. They've lost a lot of their really good guys over the years. I would say Serbia, but they don't have Nikola Jokic. So that's a no for them. Another team that maybe, I mean, you got France. They don't have Victor Wembanyama. I mean, they have Rudy Gobert, but I just don't think the other I mean, France is always a hard team to face, but I think they've been getting worse over the years. I mean, they used to have like Tony Parker and players like that. So I think they've been getting a little worse every year. But they're still a solid team. I mean, they have Nicholas Batum, Frank Ntilikina, Rudy Gobert, Nando De Colo. I just think the other three teams I mentioned before are going to give teams more trouble. Germany, they could be a force to be reckoned with. Like I said, they beat Canada the other day. I mean, they have the Wagner brothers. They have Dennis Schroeder and Daniel Tice. But I don't think that can get the job done. So other than that, I mean, Finland, if Lauri Markkanen just becomes like an MVP player, who knows? But I don't even actually know if Lauri Markkanen's playing. Isn't he like in the army? So I would say those three teams: Slovenia, Canada, and Australia. Those are the three teams I'd be worried about if I was the USA. Main problems that could come to the USA's way is just chemistry and motion in their offense and just how well they play together. They have the talent to win. They have the best talent probably 20 times any other team. So they should be able to get it done. And I'm just not ready to let go of an American dominance. I mean, if the US were to lose to a team that I would be okay with, is maybe Slovenia. I really like Luka. But other than that, like, I want them to destroy every single team. I want the U.S. to show their dominance once again. So there you go. I'm really excited for these FIBA games to start. It's going to be a nice little precursor to the NBA season. And yeah, August 25th, that's when it starts.